What if the sun isn't just a ball of fire, but a conscious force with hidden meaning? For most of us, the sun is simply the star at the center of our solar system, the massive fusion reactor that gives life to Earth. We are taught to see it as a machine of physics, a blazing orb of nuclear reactions. But what if that understanding is incomplete? What if the sun is not just a source of heat and light, but also a symbol, a mind, or even a presence that we have yet to fully comprehend? Modern science has given us countless answers about how the sun works, yet these answers often feel mechanical and limited. They explain the how, but rarely touch the why. They break the sun down into numbers and data, but is that all there is? There have always been whispers, old stories, and forgotten teachings that suggest the sun holds a deeper purpose, one that cannot be measured by telescopes or equations. Ancient civilizations saw the sun not as a thing, but as a being. To them, it was alive. It had intention and meaning. This idea might sound strange in the modern world, but perhaps that is only because we've lost the ability to look at the universe with awe rather than analysis. We have traded mystery for measurement, but maybe the mystery is still there, waiting for us to look again. This video will dive into the ways the sun has been seen throughout history and across hidden traditions. We'll explore the ancient myths where the sun was treated as a god, the esoteric teachings that claim the sun is the source of spiritual power, and the alternative theories that suggest our understanding of the sun might be entirely wrong. These ideas may not fit neatly into modern science, but they have a strange power to them, as if they are reaching out from the past to tell us something we've forgotten. What if the sun isn't just out there in the sky, but also inside us, reflected in our own consciousness? What if it's a key, not just to life, but to understanding something greater about existence itself? If any of this is true, then the sun isn't just shining light on the world. It's shining light on the mysteries of who we are and why we're here. Across every corner of the ancient world, the sun was never just a distant sphere of fire. It was seen as divine, a conscious force that shaped the very rhythm of existence. In Egypt, the sun was Ra, the great solar deity who sailed across the sky in his celestial boat, bringing life during the day and descending into the underworld at night to fight the forces of chaos. To the Egyptians, the rising of the sun each morning wasn't just a predictable event. It was a victory of divine order over darkness and death. Every sunrise was a moment of cosmic rebirth. In India, the sun was honored as Surya, the all-seeing eye of the heavens, a god who not only gave light, but also spiritual insight. Surya was said to ride across the sky in a golden chariot drawn by 7 horses, representing the 7 days of the week, or the 7 chakras, hinting at a connection between cosmic cycles and human spiritual energy. For the Greeks, Helios was the sun itself, a titan who drove his chariot of light across the heavens, while later Apollo, god of light and knowledge, became associated with its brilliance. The Aztecs saw the sun as Tonatiuh, a fierce deity who demanded sacrifice to ensure that the world would not fall into eternal night. The sun's presence in these myths was not passive. It was active, demanding respect, offerings, and alignment. The sun determined the flow of time, the harvests, and the very survival of civilizations. It was both a creator and a destroyer, capable of nurturing life, but also of burning away everything with its intense power. In many of these myths, the sun is not just a star, but the beating heart of creation, the force that animates all things. The reverence for the sun was not limited to stories alone. Ancient monuments across the world were built with an almost obsessive focus on solar events. Stonehenge, with its massive stones aligned to the summer solstice, served as both a calendar and a sacred site where the sun's position was celebrated as a turning point in the year. The pyramids of Egypt were designed with shafts that aligned to key solar positions, as if the builders sought to capture the sun's divine energy. The same can be seen in the temples of the Maya, whose structures were built to mark equinoxes and solstices with incredible precision. These weren't just acts of astronomy. They were acts of worship, of deep spiritual connection to the cycles of the cosmos. To ancient people, the sun was more than a source of warmth. It was the essence of life itself. Its rising and setting mirrored the cycle of life and death, birth and rebirth. Its path across the sky became a story of struggle and triumph, of light overcoming darkness. These civilizations looked up and saw more than light. They saw meaning. And even now, when we stand at a sunrise and feel that quiet sense of wonder, perhaps we are tapping into that same ancient truth, that the sun is not just a star, but something far greater than we allow ourselves to believe. In the hidden teachings of the occult, the sun is not simply a star radiating heat and light. It is viewed as a profound spiritual force, a living symbol of divine intelligence. Within hermeticism, the sun is often called the heart of the world, the vital center through which the mind of the cosmos expresses itself. It is not just a physical body in space, but a spiritual entity radiating life energy, a force that nourishes both the body and the soul. To the Hermetic philosophers, the sun represented illumination, not just the illumination of day, but the inner illumination of wisdom and awakening. Alchemy, with its cryptic language of metals and transformations, also placed the sun at the very center of its philosophy. The sun was associated with gold, the most perfect of metals, symbolizing purity, incorruptibility, and divine perfection. Gold wasn't just a material treasure for alchemists, it was the metaphorical endpoint of a spiritual journey. The sun, as the embodiment of gold, represented the ultimate state of spiritual transformation, the masculine principle, the radiant light of the self that has overcome shadow and reached unity with the divine. Alchemical texts often spoke of the marriage between the sun and the moon, a symbolic union of opposites, spirit and matter, consciousness and intuition. This union was not just about chemical processes, but about aligning the human soul with the higher cosmic order. In Gnostic traditions, the sun often takes on an even more mystical role. For some Gnostic sects, the sun was both a physical and spiritual gateway, a point of contact between the material world and the divine realms beyond. It was seen as a veil of light that both reveals and conceals, a force that could free the soul from the prison of the material world, if properly understood. The sun's light, to the Gnostic mind, was not just energy, but a reflection of a higher spiritual truth, the pure essence of the divine source that we have become separated from. Esoteric thinkers across centuries have hinted that the sun is not just a ball of plasma, but a kind of portal. They suggest that its energy is more than electromagnetic radiation, that it may be a conduit for consciousness itself. This perspective challenges the reductionist view of the universe, suggesting that the sun might have a form of awareness, or at least an intelligence embedded within its energy. While these ideas sound radical, they are not entirely new. They echo ancient beliefs where the sun was always treated as something alive, something capable of intention and meaning. The notion of the sun as a spiritual beacon runs through many secret traditions. In the teachings of mystics and occultists, to meditate on the sun is to commune with the highest form of life energy. Its light is not just physical light, but spiritual illumination, capable of awakening deeper layers of the human mind. the sun becomes both a symbol and a teacher, a presence that constantly shines, waiting for us to look beyond its surface and feel the essence of what it truly is. The sun's symbolism has always run deep, even in the shadowy corners of secret societies and esoteric traditions. For groups like the Freemasons and the Rosicrucians, the sun is not simply a celestial body. It is a spiritual emblem of truth, knowledge, and enlightenment. Within their teachings, the sun often represents the inner light, the eternal source of wisdom that shines within every human being. In Masonic symbolism, the sun is often placed at the center of their imagery, surrounded by pillars and geometric patterns, suggesting that spiritual awakening comes from aligning oneself with this cosmic source of light. It is a reminder that illumination, both literal and metaphorical, is what lifts humanity out of darkness. The Rosicrucians, known for their mystical and alchemical philosophies, treated the sun as the divine spark of creation itself. To them, the sun's rays were not just energy, but spiritual vibrations that had the power to awaken higher consciousness. Their texts are filled with references to the light of the sun as a key to understanding divine mysteries, suggesting that the sun's true power is not in its physical heat, but in its capacity to open the mind to truths that lie beyond the material world. Through their symbolism, the sun becomes a living metaphor for enlightenment, a constant reminder that the path to truth begins by turning toward the light. But not all solar symbols represent the visible sun in the sky. The concept of the black sun, found in various occult traditions, points to something more hidden and mysterious. This symbol does not refer to the physical sun, but rather to an invisible spiritual sun, a source of hidden illumination that lies beyond ordinary perception. For some, the black sun represents the hidden force of creation, the shadowed aspect of the divine that exists beyond light and darkness. It is often described as the sun that shines inward, illuminating the soul from within rather than from without. This symbol has been both misunderstood and misused throughout history, but its core meaning remains tied to the idea of inner awakening, a light that exists even in the deepest darkness. The influence of solar symbolism extends into architecture and sacred geometry. Many ancient structures, and even some modern ones linked to esoteric traditions, are aligned with the sun's movement across the sky. Temples, cathedrals, and monuments were built with precise alignments to capture the sun at specific moments. Sunrises on solstices, sunsets on equinoxes, moments when the light itself was considered sacred and transformative. These alignments were not merely for calendar purposes, they were intentional acts of connecting the physical world with a higher cosmic order, as if the builders understood that the sun's light could charge a place with spiritual power. Even the simple geometric shapes often associated with the sun, circles, rays, spirals, hold symbolic weight. The circle, for example, represents unity, infinity, and the unbroken cycle of life. The rays symbolize the spread of consciousness outward, the reach of divine influence that extends to all living things. These designs have been embedded in everything from stained glass windows to mystical diagrams, reinforcing the idea that the sun is not just an object in the sky, but a profound spiritual archetype. The hidden symbolism of the sun challenges us to see beyond its physical appearance and recognize the layers of meaning humanity has placed upon it for millennia. It is a mirror reflecting not just light, but the deepest aspects of our own search for knowledge, power, and understanding. The sun shines on the physical world, but its symbols point towards something eternal, something that has always existed within us, waiting to be brought into the light. In the modern era, the sun has been dissected, measured, and analyzed by the lens of science, yet even here, alternative theories persist that challenge mainstream explanations. One of the most provocative is the electric universe theory, which views the sun not as a nuclear furnace, but as an electromagnetic phenomenon. According to this theory, the sun is powered not by nuclear fusion at its core, as conventional science teaches, but by vast cosmic electric currents that flow through space. Supporters of this model argue that the sun's surface activity, its flares and sunspots, are better explained by electrical interactions rather than the standard fusion model. If true, this would radically shift our understanding of not only the sun, but the entire cosmos, suggesting a universe alive with currents of energy, rather than just cold mechanical forces. Alongside this idea are theories that see the sun as more complex than the glowing sphere we observe. Some scientists and thinkers propose that the sun might have layers of plasma behaving almost like a living organism, its energy flowing in patterns that resemble nervous systems or biological structures. These plasma-based models suggest that the sun's behavior, its rhythms, cycles, and magnetic storms could be seen as forms of expression, almost as if it has its own form of life or intelligence. While mainstream science doesn't go this far, the resemblance of the sun's plasma flows to natural patterns, from bloodstreams to neural networks, is a fascinating parallel that fuels these ideas. Then there are even stranger, fringe theories that step outside traditional science entirely. Some claim the sun could be a projection, an energetic hologram created by forces we do not understand. Others speculate that the sun might be a kind of conscious entity, a vast being of energy and light that sustains life not just physically, but spiritually. While these theories are often dismissed as pseudoscience, they tap into something ancient, the enduring sense that the sun is not just matter, but meaning. These ideas often come from personal experiences, strange observations, or intuitive beliefs that the sun's energy is far more than just heat and light. Interestingly, even in more accepted scientific discussions, there are mysteries about the sun that remain unsolved. For example, why is the corona, the outer atmosphere of the sun, hotter than the surface? A phenomenon that defies conventional understanding of heat transfer? Questions like these keep the door open for alternative perspectives, because they show that the sun is not as fully understood as we might like to believe. For those who see the sun as a conscious or intelligent force, these gaps in knowledge are not coincidences, but clues. They suggest that what we think we know is only scratching the surface of a deeper reality. The modern world may pride itself on logic and reason, but these alternative theories persist because they speak to something that logic alone cannot satisfy. The sense that the universe is alive, interconnected, and filled with mysteries far beyond the reach of equations. The fascination with alternative views of the sun is not just about rejecting modern science, it's about a longing for something deeper, something that speaks to the soul as much as the intellect. For centuries, humans have looked to the sun not only as a physical source of life, but as a symbol of higher consciousness. It is no coincidence that so many spiritual traditions speak of awakening as a kind of inner sunrise, a light breaking through the darkness of ignorance. The sun, with its constant rise and fall, has always mirrored the human journey of life, death, and rebirth, and this symbolic power is one reason these theories persist. Ancient wisdom often carried truths in symbolic form, blending observation with spiritual meaning. The myths of Ra, Surya, and Helios might sound like fanciful stories, but perhaps they were attempts to express ideas that went beyond the limitations of language and science. In a way, modern theories about the sun being conscious or part of a larger cosmic intelligence echo these ancient teachings. It's as if humanity, even after thousands of years, still senses there is something mysterious and profound about that glowing presence in the sky. There's also a psychological dimension to this fascination. The sun is a constant in our lives, always present, always shining. It holds power over our moods, our cycles of sleep and activity, and even our emotions. Studies have shown how sunlight affects our well-being, yet on a deeper level, its presence feels almost spiritual. When we look at a sunrise or sunset, there is a moment of stillness, a feeling that we are witnessing something greater than ourselves. It's no wonder that people begin to ask if there's more to the sun than what science tells us. Another reason these ideas endure is that science, for all its achievements, rarely satisfies the human craving for meaning. Science can explain how nuclear fusion works, how light travels through space, and how solar flares erupt from the surface of the sun. But science cannot answer why the sun is there, why its cycles seem so perfect for sustaining life, or why its light stirs something primal and transcendent within us. That gap between understanding the mechanics of something and understanding its meaning is where alternative theories take root. The allure of mystery itself is another factor. Humans have always been drawn to the unknown, to the sense that there is a hidden layer of reality just beyond our reach. The sun, as the most visible and powerful object in our sky, becomes the perfect canvas for these ideas. Whether it is seen as a conscious being, a spiritual portal, or a symbol of enlightenment, the sun continues to inspire us to look beyond the surface and question what reality really is. These theories persist because, deep down, we want them to be true. We want the sun to be more than just a ball of burning plasma. We want it to hold meaning, to have a connection to our own existence, to reflect something divine and eternal. And perhaps, in ways we cannot yet measure, it does. The question that began this journey still lingers. Could the sun be both a physical and spiritual force? It is easy to dismiss such ideas as mere myth or imagination, but when we look closely at history, symbolism, and even the mysteries that science itself cannot fully explain, the sun seems to demand more than a purely mechanical understanding. It is the source of all life on Earth, the reason plants grow, the reason we see color, the reason we exist. But beyond these physical realities, it has always carried a weight of meaning, as though it is not only lighting the world, but also illuminating something within us. Perhaps that is why the sun has been worshipped and revered by every ancient civilization. It was never just about its warmth or its power. It was about what it represented. In Ra's daily journey across the sky, in Surya's golden chariot, in Helios's blazing crown, people saw not only a god, but a mirror of their own spiritual journey. Life, death, and rebirth were all reflected in the path of the sun, and those patterns are still there for us to see every single day. Maybe we've just forgotten how to look at them with the same awe. In the world of the occult, the sun is still seen as the great symbol of enlightenment, the ultimate light that dispels the darkness of ignorance. Even modern alternative theories, from the electric universe model to more radical ideas about consciousness, carry a similar message, that the sun is more than we think. Whether as a literal star or a metaphor for awakening, it continues to inspire questions about the nature of reality and our place within it. Maybe the sun's true role isn't just to shine on our world, but to shine on our minds, to push us to wonder, to ask deeper questions, to remember that not everything can be reduced to numbers and formulas. Sometimes, meaning is not found in the answers we already have, but in the mysteries we dare to explore. So, could the sun be more than just physics? Could it be a force that connects life, consciousness, and the divine in ways we barely understand? That's a question each of us has to answer for ourselves. Maybe the real light of the sun is not the one we see in the sky, but the one it sparks inside us. The light that asks us to look closer, think deeper, and imagine what else might be hidden in plain sight. What do you think? Could the sun be more than what science tells us? Or is its true power not in its nature, but in the meaning we give to it?